Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we are talking all about the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort. We'll be discussing Formula One Academy as well as the Formula One racing this weekend. So let's get into it, shall we? So let's start with FP1 in the Formula One Academy. So in first place we had Palmovski with 7 laps, Verg in second place with 7 laps, and then Chambers in third with 8 laps, Pa in fourth with 8 laps, Chong with 14 laps in fifth, and then Larson in sixth with 12 laps, Gademan in 7th place with 7 laps, Block in 8th with 11 laps, Ferreira in 9th with 8 laps, Hausman in 10th with 7 laps, Seconte in 11th with 12 laps, Nobles in 12th with 11 laps, Lloyd in 13th with 13 laps. And then we have Kosterman, who's the wildcard entry for this race, and she was 14th with 12 laps, and then Felbermeyer in 15th with 13 laps, Krohn in 16th place with 12 laps, Havrida in 17th with 11 laps, and then Anastagniadis in 18th with 12 laps. Now let's go to FP2 for Formula One Academy, where Chambers was first with 13 laps, Verg once again in second with 14. So Chambers went up 2 places, Verg stayed in second, Pa went up 1 place into third with 14 laps, Palmovski dropped by 3 into fourth with 14 laps, Larson went up 1 into 5th with 15 laps, Hausman went up 4 positions in 6th with 14 laps. In 7th we have Felbermeyer with 14 laps, she went up 8 places. Lloyd went up to 8th by 5 positions and she did 12 laps. Kosterman went up 5 positions into 9th with 14 laps. Nobles went up 2 positions into 10th with 17 laps. Ferreira dropped down to 11th. She dropped 2 places with 14 laps. Seconte dropped 1 position into 12th with 13 laps. Havrida went up 4 places into 13th with 15 laps. Block dropped 6 places into 14th with 15 laps. And then Chong dropped 10 places into 15th with 14 laps. Krohn stayed in 16th with 16 laps. In 17th we have Anastagniadis with 16 laps, she went up 1 position, and then Gademan did not start the race as she had a health complication, presumably due to the accident she had a few races ago, or was it during the testing? We're not sure exactly, but she did not take part in FP2. She dropped 11 places into 18th as a result, although she was a non-starter. So now let's get into sprint qualifying for the girls. So now let's get into the sprint qualifying, which found that Gademan was qualified first, followed by Hausman in second, Block in third, Pa in fourth, Chambers in fifth, Lloyd in sixth, Verg in 8th, and then Kosterman in 9th. She stayed in the same place as in FP2. Felbermeyer dropped 3 positions into 10th, Ferreira stayed in 11th, then Chong went up 3 positions into 12th, Krohn went up 3 positions into 13th, Larson dropped 9 positions into 14th, Havrida dropped 2 positions but also had a 10 place grid penalty for both races, so she was in 15th. Seconte dropped 4 places into 16th, Nobles dropped 7 places into 17th, and Anastagniadis dropped 1 position into 18th. And the reason why I didn't mention the drops and ups for the first 8 was because the race qualifying shows the true qualification, so we'll get onto that right now. But before we do that, let's talk about the results for what I call the sprint, but actually it's the first of 2 races for F1 Academy. So in first place it was Gaidman, who stayed in first. Block went up 1 position into second. Verg gained 5 positions into third. Lloyd gained 2 positions into fourth. Chambers stayed in 5th. Pan dropped 2 positions into 6th. Palmowski stayed in 7th. Felbermeyer gained 2 positions into 8th. Nobles gained 3 positions into 9th. Havrida gained 5 positions into 10th. And then Ferreira stayed in 11th. Kosterman dropped 3 positions into 12th. Krohn stayed in 13th. Seconte gained 2 positions into 14th. Chong dropped 3 positions into 15th. Anastagiadis gained 2 positions into 16th. Larson dropped 3 positions into 17th. And Hausmann crashed and as a result dropped all the way down 17 positions into 18. So let's get into the actual qualifying results. So Verg qualified first and she gained 1 position from FP2. Palmowski gained 2 positions into second. Lloyd gained 5 positions into third. Chambers dropped 3 positions into fourth. Pant dropped 2 positions into 5th. Block gained 8 positions into 6th. Hausmann dropped 1 position into 7th. Gaidman gained 10 positions into 8th. And then Kosterman stayed in 9th. Felbermeyer dropped 3 positions into 10th. Ferreira stayed in 11th. Chong gained 3 positions into 12th. Krohn gained 3 positions into 13th. Larson dropped 9 positions into 14th. Havrida dropped 2 positions into 15th. Seconte dropped 4 positions into 16th. And Nobles dropped 7 positions into 17th. And Anastagiadis dropped 1 position into 18th. And now let's see how it played out in the second race. So the race in Zandvoort, the second race, Verg stayed in first. Palmowski stayed in second. Pan gained 2 positions into third. Lloyd dropped 1 position as a result of a 5-second penalty for a false start or moving before the signal allowed them to race. Hausmann gained 2 positions into 5th. Gaidman gained 2 positions into 6th. Kosterman gained 2 positions into 7th and was the first wildcard entry this year who gained points. And then Ferreira gained 5 positions into 8th. Larson gained 5 positions into 9th. Chong gained 2 positions into 10th. Krohn gained 2 positions into 11th. Block dropped 6 positions as a result of a penalty due to a crash. And then Seconte gained 3 positions into 13th. Nobles gained 3 positions into 14th. Felbermeyer lost 5 positions into 15th. Havrida dropped 1 position into 16th. Anastagiadis stayed in 17th. And Chambers was in 18th and dropped 14 positions as she could not start her car, so she did not take part in the race. So in first position for the standings, we have Pan with 127 points, then Verg in second with 107, and then Chambers with 93, Lloyd in fourth with 84, Palmowski with 73 in fifth, Gaidman with 51 in sixth, Larson in seventh with 48, Hausmann with 46 in eighth, Block with 23 in ninth, Felbermeyer with 22 in 10th, Ferreira with 13 points in 11th, Chong with 12 points in 12th, Kosterman with 6 in 13th. Remember that's the wildcard entry for this race. Nobles with 5 points in 14th, Anastagiadis with 5 points in 15th, Seconte with 4 points in 16th, Havrida with 1 point in 17th, Krohn with 0 points in 18th, and then the rest are wildcard entries. So in 19th we have Pats, in 20th we have Dobson, in 21st we have Shi, and in 22nd we have Al Yusuf, and they all have 0 points so far. And now let's look at the team teams. So in first position we have Prima Racing with 224 points, followed by Campos Racing with 179 points in second, MP Motorsport with 159 points in third, Rodin Motorsport with 118 in fourth, Art Grand Prix in fifth position with 28, and High Tech TGR with 12 points in sixth. So now we move on to the Formula 1 racing, where we start with FP1 and we start from 20th, which was Antonelli, and he had 6 laps and he was in 20th. Behrman with 30 laps in 19th, Colapinto with 27 laps in 18th, Ocon with 29 laps in 17th, and then Tsunoda with 24 laps in 16th, Hamilton with 28 laps in 15th, Leclerc with 32 laps in 14th, Hulkenberg with 30 laps in 13th, Hadjar with 30 laps in 12th, Lawson with 29 laps in 11th, Gasly with 30 laps in 10th, Bortoleto with 30 laps in 9th, Sainz with 33 laps in 8th, Russell with 29 laps in 7th, Verstappen with 24 laps in 6th, Albon with 33 laps in 5th, Alonso with 25 laps in 4th, Stroll with 25 laps in 3rd, Piastri with 32 laps in 2nd, and Norris with 35 laps in 1st. And Antonelli did only 6 laps as a result of him beaching into the gravel and was not able to leave there. So he managed to only do 6 laps before he had to call it a day on FP1. So in FP2 then, we had in 20th position Hadjar, who had a power failure and only managed to do 1 lap. If that, he dropped 8 positions. In 19th we had Gasly, who lost 9 positions with 28 laps. In 18th we had Stroll with 7 laps. He crashed his car, the side of his car, and lost out 15 positions in 18th. And then Albon in 17th with 16 laps, he beached his car in the gravel, he lost 12 positions. Sainz with 30 laps in 16th, he dropped 8 positions. Ocon in 15th with 23 laps, he gained 2 positions. Lawson in 14th with 25 laps, he dropped 3 positions. Bortoleto with 25 laps, he dropped 4 positions. Antonelli with 21 laps in 12th, he gained 8 positions. Behrman with 26 laps in 11th, his favourite place, in 8th. Hulkenberg in 10th with 25 laps, he gained 3 positions. Colapinto in 9th with 26 laps in 9th. Leclerc in 8th with 23 laps in 6th. Tsunoda in 7th with 26 laps, gaining 10. In 6th we have Hamilton with 22 laps, he gained 9. In 5th we have Verstappen with 23 laps, he gained 1. In 4th we have Russell with 25 laps, he gained 3 positions. In 3rd we have Piastri with 29 laps, he dropped 1 position. In 2nd we have Alonso with 20 laps, he gained 2 positions. And Norris stayed in 1st with 28 laps. And now let's go to FP3. On to FP3 now, where in 20th we have Colapinto, who dropped 11 positions into 20th. Gasly stayed in 19th with 23 laps. In 18th, Ocon with 17 laps, he dropped 3 positions. Antonelli in 17th with 30 laps, he dropped 5 positions. Hulkenberg in 16th, 23 laps, and he dropped 6 positions. In 15th we have Behrman with 18 laps and he dropped 4 positions. In 14th we have Hamilton with 19 laps, he dropped 8 positions. In 13th we have Bortoleto with 20 laps, he stayed in 13th. In 12th we have Tsunoda with 18 laps, who dropped 5 positions. In 11th we have Lawson, who had 16 laps and gained 3 positions. In 10th we have Alonso, who did 20 laps and dropped 8 positions. In 9th we have Hadjar, who did 20 laps and gained 11 positions. In 8th we have Stroll, who had 23 laps and gained 10 positions. In 7th we have Albon with 21 laps and gained 10 positions. In 6th we have Leclerc with 22 laps, he gained 2 positions. And then in 5th we have Verstappen with 19 laps, he stayed in 5th. In 4th we have Sainz with 22 laps and he gained 12 positions. In 3rd we have Russell with 16 laps, he gained 1 position. In 2nd we have Piastri with 14 laps, he gained 1 position. And in 1st we still have Lando Norris with 15 laps and he stayed where he was. So where did the boys qualify? Well, we have a Stroll in 20th, who dropped 12 positions. He had another crash, so it was not his weekend at all in regards to that. In 19th We have Behrman, who dropped 4 positions. In 18th, we have Ocon, who stayed there. In 17th, we have Hulkenberg, who dropped 1 position. In 16th, we have Colapinto, who gained 4 positions. In 15th, we have Albon, who dropped 8 positions. In 14th, we have Gasly, who gained 5 positions. In 13th, we have Bortoleto, who stayed there and stayed there pretty much all weekend. In 12th, we have Tsunoda, who stayed there. In 11th, we have Antonelli, who gained 6 positions. In 10th, we have Alonso, who stayed in 10th. In 9th, we have Sainz, who lost 5 positions. In 8th, we have Lawson, who gained 3 positions. In 7th, we have Hamilton, who gained 7 positions. In 6th, we have Leclerc, who stayed in 6th. In 5th, we have Russell, who dropped 2 positions. In 4th, we have Hadjar, who gained 5 positions. In 3rd, we have Verstappen, who gained 2 positions. In 2nd, we have Norris, who dropped 1 position. And then in 1st, we have Piastri, who gained 1 position. Okay, so let's discuss the race. So in last position was Hamilton, who dropped 13 positions and finished in 20th as a result of him crashing on turn 3 because he went onto the wet paint due to the fact that it was raining, and he lost control of the car and crashed into a wall. And it wasn't a very good race for Ferrari at all, because in 19th we have Leclerc, who crashed with Antonelli, who got Antonelli got a 10-second penalty for that crash, but Leclerc dropped 13 places as a result and finished in 19th. And then in 18th, Lando Norris had an engine failure. He had an oil leak in the car and could not finish the race. It was very late on in the race, and he dropped 16 places as a result. Otherwise, he would have finished 2nd. And then in 17th, we have Gasly, who was the first of the bottom to finish. He finished in 17th. He dropped 3 positions. And then Antonelli had altogether a 15-second penalty as a result of also speeding in the pit lane, so that was an extra 5 seconds. So he finished in 16th, dropping 5 positions from where he qualified. And then in 15th, we have Bortoleto, who dropped 2 positions. And in 14th, we have Hulkenberg, who gained 3 positions. In 13th, we have Sainz, who dropped 3 positions. In 12th, we have Lawson, who dropped 4 positions. In 11th, we have Colapinto, which is quite impressive. I think this is the highest he's ever finished a race, and he was very close to actually getting his first ever point. He gained 5 positions. Ocon was the first of our point scorers. He finished in 10th. He gained 9 positions. Tsunoda has finally gotten some points for Red Bull. It has been a very long while since he has done that. He finished in 9th, gaining 3 positions. In 8th, we have Alonso, who gained 2 positions. In 7th, we have Stroll, who gained 13 positions. And then in 6th, we have Behrman, who also gained 13 positions. In 15th, we have Albon, who gained 10 positions. In 4th, we have Russell, who gained 1 position. In 3rd, we have another rookie gaining his first ever podium. We have Isaac Hadjar, who gained 1 position, finishing in 3rd and gaining a very rare trophy for the Racing Bulls. The last time I believe they had a trophy was in Monza 2021 or maybe Baku 2021. And then in 2nd, we have Verstappen, who inherited this from Norris after his engine failure, so he gained 1 position. And then Piastri won the race, so he stayed in 1st. Now let's get on to the side stuff, aka the drivers and the team's standings. So in 1st position, once again, it's Oscar Piastri. He has 309 points. In 2nd position, we have Norris with 275. That's a 34-point difference. In 3rd, we have Verstappen, who has 205. That's a 70-point difference to Norris. In 4th, we have Russell with 184. That's 21 points difference to Verstappen. In 5th, we have Leclerc with 151 points. That's a 33-point difference to Russell. In 6th, we have Hamilton, who has 109 points. That's 42 points difference to Leclerc. In 7th, we have Antonelli, who has 64 points. That's 45 points difference to Hamilton. In 8th, we have Albon, who has also 64, so there's no difference between him and Antonelli. In 9th, we have Hulkenberg with 37 points, and that's a 27 difference between him and Albon. And then in 10th, we have Hadjar, who has 37 points as well, so there's no difference between him and Hulkenberg. In 11th, we have Stroll with 32 points. That's a 5 points difference to Hajar. And in 12th, we have Alonso, who's on 30. That's 2 points difference to Stroll. In 13th, we have Ocon, who has 28 points. That's 2 points difference to Alonso. In 14th, Gasly with 20. That's 8 points difference to Ocon. In 15th, we have Lawson with 20 points, and that's no difference to Gasly. In 16th, we have Behrman with 16 points. That's 4 points difference to Lawson. In 17th, we have Sainz, who also has 16 points, so no difference to Behrman. In 18th, we have Bortoleto with 14 points. That's 2 points difference to Sainz. In 19th, we have Tsunoda, who has 12 points, and that's 2 points difference to Bortoleto. And then in 20th, we have Colapinto with 0 points. That's 12 points difference to Tsunoda. And Doohan, once again, is still on 0 points because he doesn't race anymore, at least for now. So now let's go on to the teams. McLaren is still way ahead of everyone else with 554 points, followed by Ferrari in second with 260 points. That's 324 points difference. In third, we have Mercedes with 248 points. That's 12 points difference to Ferrari. In fourth, we have Red Bull Racing with 214 points. That's 34 points difference to Mercedes. In fifth, we have Williams with 80 points. That's 134 points difference to Red Bull. In sixth, we have Aston Martin, who have 62 points, and that's 18 points difference to Williams. In seventh, we have Racing Bulls, who are on 60 points, and that's 2 points difference to Aston Martin. In eighth, we have Kick Sauber, who have 51 points, and that's 9 points difference to Racing Bulls. In ninth, we have Haas, who have 44 points, and that's 7 points difference to Kick Sauber. And in 10th, we have Alpine, who are on 20th, and that's 24 points difference to Haas. And that's the side stuff. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. We are finally back in the race rundown days, and don't forget that next Monday we'll have yet another race rundown episode for you. This one will be Monza, but we'll also be back on Saturday with another normal Formula Amateur episode where we'll be discussing a brief history of Mercedes. So please check out that when it comes out. Also check out my lovely colleagues on the Be the Change Media Network. Also check out the BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com website. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you on Saturday. Goodbye.